This is the tomtoc T33 1.5 liter sling bag. And this is the tomtoc T33 2.5 liter sling bag. And this is the tomtoc T33 3.5 liter sling bag. And in today's video, we're going to be doing a much requested comparison of all three sizes of this bag. Now, quickly to note that these also come in this ripstop for the T33 as well as X-pac in the T35. I have the X-pac versions here as well, but because they're basically the exact same other than exterior materials, we're going to just stick with the T33 to keep it simple for this video, but just know that anything that fits in here will also fit in the X-pac version as well. So every time I make a video about the T33 or the T35, the number one question that comes up is, will this one fit in this thing? Will this fit in this other one? So today's video is by high demand, and I'm hopeful that this video is helpful for you. So literally surrounded by me, you can't see it yet, I've got all of my EDC gear from years of collecting of stuff over here. So we've got photography gear, we've got tablets here, we've got handheld video game stuff, we've got multi-tools, sunglasses, water bottles, pens, wallets, flashlights, passports, all of it. So we're gonna check all of it out, and we're gonna start right now. So I've got them all laid out here so you can see them. So that's the 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 liter here. Now, one thing I wanted to note before I get too deep into this this comparison is that on the 3.5 liter, you'll see that I have replaced the zipper pulls on the main section here with these kind of finger loops. It's just a preference that I have on those. And as well, I've also reversed the strap. So we're probably not gonna talk about the strap. I have dedicated videos talking about these bags, but I've reversed the strap so you can see there's kind of some rough stitching in here that is not from the tomtoc factory. If you look at the factory stitching here on the 2.5 liter, it's much cleaner. So I wanted to acknowledge that. So I've got obviously the black material here, but these do come in a few different colors, which I'll put on the screen here. The T35 have even more fun kind of color variants, which is cool. So physically, dimensions wise, the 1.5 liter is about 8.25 inches long here, and then 4.5 inches wide, I guess that's technically the height, and then the actual width is about 2.5 inches when it's kind of fully packed out. These are the official dimensions that are listed on tomtoc's website, and they've got the weight here listed as 218 grams with a strap length going from about 40 inches to about 63 inches. Now the 2.5 liter over here jumps up quite a bit. So this is about 10.25 inches, 5.3 inches in height here, and then 3.33 inches wide. So you get a little bit more dimension overall. And then the 3.5 liter obviously is the largest. It's about 11.5 inches by close to 6 inches by, again, 3.33 inches. So about the same amount of depth. I forgot to mention weight here is 304 grams and 313 grams here. The strap lengths are pretty similar in the 42 inch to 65 inch kind of gamut. I will say that the 2.5 liter, you can already tell, they are relatively close in size in comparison to the 1.5 liter. So these two bags feel a lot more similar, especially in terms of what you can carry, which obviously we'll get into in this video, than the 1.5 liter, which has the same design, shares a lot of the same kind of characteristics of these bags, but obviously in comparison is quite a bit smaller. So now let's get into the 1.5 liter and fill it up. My idea for this video is I'm gonna go ahead and pack this out, kind of max out the 1.5 liter. Then I'm gonna transfer all of that over into the 2.5 liter, and then we can see how much extra room you have, and then we'll kind of pack that out to its max, and then put all that in the 3.5 liter and kind of max that out. So hopefully you know about these bags already, but quick rundown is that they've got 3 zipper pockets. There's a front section, there is a center section, kind of main compartment with 2 zippers, as well as a back zipper without any organization in it. So in this bag, in my daily carry, I always throw in a pen, a Sharpie, and this little spray hand sanitizer. So I'll throw those up front in here. On key leashes, I don't usually carry keys, so I always grab my Rovivon A8 Aurora flashlight, so I'll throw that in there. And then I'm often carrying a little SD card because I always carry a camera with me, and then some type of camera battery. I'll put that on that side. And then lately I've also been stashing this little tiny set of bits because it goes with my my favorite EDC multi-tool right now, which is this Roxxon Mini Flex Companion. I've got a full video for that if you are interested in multi-tools. I really love this thing. So this is a nice little bit set. Little sketchy in this compartment with a battery with these kind of sharp pokey items. So, but you could put that obviously in there, maybe if you weren't carrying a battery. And that kind of is all I would put in there. Obviously there is more space. Actually, I would usually put in a set of earbuds. So these are the Pixel Buds from Google. Throw that in there as well. In the center section, I don't usually use this zipper divider. And the reason why is that it doesn't really gain me a whole lot, but wanted to point out that obviously you can put things like money in here. US dollars would fit in here flat if you wanted to. But I typically am carrying a couple things. So one is a little pouch here. So this is like a little first aid pouch, little medicines and things that I need on a daily basis. So that will just barely fit in upright in here, as you can see. So this is the alpaca hub pouch. So if I was carrying this bag, I might go with something a little bit smaller in terms of the pouch. And then I will always carry a camera with me. That's important. In this small bag, I would usually carry something like the Ricoh GR3, or you could put in like a Sony RX100 series, something like that. So that will fit in right side up like that, and that will zip close. But that's about all you're gonna fit in there in terms of that section. You can see that's kind of getting packed out already. In this back section, will a passport fit? Let's see. Passport. Yes, it will. So you could put your passport in there, you could put a wallet in there, you could put your phone in there. Anything like that would fit quite well in this back section. Here, I'm often carrying, I have like a little hanky because it's hot. It is hot, guys. The summer is here and it is hot. So I just kind of shove that in there. Gives me a little extra padding on the back as well. So that's kind of the 1.5 liter fully packed out here. Now I did say I would show you some alternative carry options. So let's go ahead and look in that main section. So if you do like cameras, if you don't have that pouch, maybe you want to carry something a little bit larger, maybe a popular Fujifilm X100 series camera, you could actually fit that in here as well. Although the lens is kind of pushing out a bit on the front section here. So if I wanted to carry that, I probably would have to take out a few items to make that work. I'd want to keep in the battery for it, but maybe take out the earbuds and that's gonna fit a little bit better. I still have some space here on the side. Maybe I'll throw in like a little tote bag is something I like to carry when I have room for it as well. That folds up nice and neat. And there you go. You can fit the X100, but that's probably about as big of a camera as I would put in here. You could also put something maybe like the Osmo Pocket 3 if you were more of a video shooter. Could certainly do that as well. Maybe in the back, instead of this hanky, maybe you want to throw a battery bank. So I've got this little 6,000 milliamp hour, very slim battery bank, and let's see, that fits in there as well, but again starts to feel pretty tight. All right, now I've emptied out the 1.5 liter and I've brought in the 2.5 liter here, so I'm gonna kind of speed this up as I go through and load it up with the same things, but quickly pointing out that you do get those extra divider pockets in the front section here that I mentioned, and as you look into the main section as well, there's a little bit of a more padded divider here with some more additional mesh pockets that are split in the middle. So those are kind of the differences when you go up, and then the 2.5 liter and 3.5 liter are basically the exact same layout in terms of organization. So I'll go ahead and load up the same types of things in this one. Put the flashlight on there, put the flashlight usually in the pocket now that I have it. I can put the earbuds in there as well. Maybe on in the front, put the bits as well as a battery and the other thing in the back here, hand sanitizer, boom, that's that. Open that up, put that in there, maybe that. And fit actually the battery and the hanky in the back, so zip that up. So obviously with the same things in the center section, I have quite a bit of space. I put the GR3 in that mesh pocket there. That gives it some separation there. But actually something that I like to carry if I can with the GR3, since it's terrible at video, is actually the Osmo Pocket 3 from DJI. Got a little case on it here. So I'll usually throw that here in the bottom of that bag, and I just put the pouch on top. So it's easy to access if I need it. And I still have space, so maybe I'll take the little tote bag and shove it there, and you can kind of see what we're doing there. Now in this back section, you still have a nice divider here. So in this one, maybe this is like the Kindle Paperwhite. This is the newest, latest gen, and I kind of gotta squeeze it in because it's a little tight at the bottom, but plenty of space at the top for that. Let's actually take some stuff out because it is kind of pushing in just to see what these larger items will fit. So that is what the Kindle, but what about an iPad mini? I've got the pencil on there as well. So put that in there. It's not gonna fit with the pencil, but take that pencil off, and it's kind of right at the edge of that where you could kind of tuck it in there and get that wherever you need it to go, but it is kind of pushing up at the top there. So I would say not the best for the iPad there. Now, if we instead of the GR3 wanted to go with maybe the X100, obviously you can fit that in here. It fits in, I think, both directions here, yeah. So it'll actually fit standing up, which means that you can get a lot more stuff still on this side. So if you wanted, you know, if I wanted to put my pouch in there, I've got a Leatherman Arc in this little case with a couple of like bit drivers, and that will actually fit in here nicely as well, standing up. So yeah, you can kind of see a really nice little EDC coming together there, which is cool. That all zips up well. In the back here, you do have a bit more height. Like I said, I already put the battery and the hanky back in there, but obviously a passport will fit in there. I don't think a Kindle will fit in this back pocket. No, it's not gonna fit in zip, so you'd have to put that in the front section for sure. So yeah, that starts to give you an idea there of what I would load up in here. The front pocket had the same amount of stuff, but it does have a little bit more room. But you know, I like having the extra dividers there to even just split up the contents from what we had before, which is cool. And then the last camera to check here is actually the Sony a7C II. Let's go ahead and try to squeeze that in there on this. And yeah, it actually does fit, which is pretty cool on the 2.5 liter. I will say it doesn't leave a lot of room. It's pushing on these sides here quite a bit. So if you wanted to load up, obviously you can fit more in here right now, up front here, and maybe the front, you know, on this side. But trying to put anything right here is gonna be a little bit too tight if you put something like that in there. It's not gonna fit anything larger than this camera, but any of the Sony APS-C cameras, so the A6000 you know, series, will fit in here as well with a decent sized lens. This is the 20mm f1.8 on there to show that. What if you're a gamer? I've got a few here. This isn't real. This is a Nintendo Switch 2 that I have 3D printed, and you know, I do this for you guys. I 3D print things, I guess, and let's see if that fits in here. So I would say that does not fit in here. That is really pushing here in this corner to get closed. And this is like a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Switch 2, down to the fact that I can actually take these off. So if you just had the tablet itself, you could shove that in the back. It does fit in height-wise, which is nice. And then, you know, obviously you could stash these in maybe these little mesh pockets. Just like so. You could throw those in there, and then if you wanted to carry your Switch 2 with, let's say, a large battery bank. This is a battery bank from iNew. This is a 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank. You gotta throw a cable in there too, but you could fit that in the side. You actually stand that up as well and still have additional space. So you got games on the go here. Now, other gaming systems, since that Switch 2 did not fit, these others are unfortunately not gonna fit either. So this is the ROG Ally. I don't think this will fit, and it kind of has the same problem as the Switch 2, where it's kind of getting stuck on these corners. I think I could like mangle it in there if I really, really, really wanted to, but I don't really want to, and it's pushing weirdly against the joystick. So yeah, definitely I don't recommend the 2.5 liter if like a gaming console is your main carry. There's plenty of other bags that are a little bit bigger that will fit those things better for you. will it fit a water bottle? This is a 12-ounce but metal water bottle, so it's pretty bulky, and that will fit in there. So if you are someone who wants to carry a water bottle, it'll obviously fit like a plastic water bottle or something smaller, maybe even something a little bit larger than this, but this is about the height that you could get on it, and obviously that's kind of the interior dimension there. So wanted to show that as well before now we transition to the 3.5 liter. So right before we get into the 3.5 liter, I wanted to quickly jump in here and just ask that if you're enjoying this video and if you enjoy content like this, if you'd consider subscribing. I've got a personal goal of trying to hit 10,000 subscribers, and it would mean the world to me to have you along for the ride. So yeah, consider subscribing, and yeah, let's jump right into the 3.5 liter and see what fits there. All right, 3.5 liter, same thing again. I'm gonna go quickly through here as I load up kind of my everyday essentials, so you don't have to get bored with me saying the same things over and over again. Got the flashlight on here, stick that in a pocket, stick the earbuds stick the earbuds in there, stick the battery over here, a little bit set up front, and that in there. Middle section here, nice and big. Maybe I'll take that, throw it there. Will this fit in standing? All right, so now I've got the 3.5 liter loaded up with a lot of the same things we just had in the 2.5 liter. So you can kind of see in the front section how those things are fitting in. Again, you've got more room here, just a little more flexibility on what you can fit in there. These pockets are a little larger, so you can fit, you know, full-size things of gum or other things that you might want to carry. It's a little taller here as well, so you can fit higher items, maybe a deck of cards, things like that. In the center section, and again, remember I've replaced these zipper pulls, don't get confused. All I have in here right now, I threw the GR3, the Rico, back in there. I threw the alpaca hub pouch, and you can see I've actually got the Osmo Pocket 3 standing upright, so that's nice. You get a little bit of extra height, and that little bit of extra height goes a long way for fitting extra things by being able to get them upright, and it also allows you to see everything a little bit better versus, you know, in the 2.5 liter, I had that laying down, you know, in the bottom here. But if I do that, you can see how much room is still there. Let's take those things out and let's think about an X100. Again, if you put it, you know, down flat, you've got a lot of space on top. You could easily throw a pair of sunglasses or something like that. It's kind of hard to see, but it is got some space up here. If you stand it upright, you've got a little bit more wiggle room than you had on the 2.5 liter. So again, you can still fit in, you know, quite a bit of stuff in here. Throw in the multi-tool as well, maybe. And where'd the pouch go? Where'd that little pouch go? My little tote. Throw that in also. Now in the back here, you get some extra space. So Kindle obviously is not gonna be a problem. You got lots of room for that. And now we've stepped up far enough that you can fit the iPad mini without having to like go crazy trying to like crease those corners. It won't fit with the pencil on top of it. I mean, it kind of does, but it's gonna for sure get knocked over, but that's fine. If you carry a pencil with it, you can either do this or throw it in the front pocket as well. But look at that, look at all that. I mean, the 3.5 liter just has a ton of capacity. This is one of my favorite bags when I want to carry a lot of stuff, but not have a super bulky bag on me, because I think even when you have all this in here and you zip it up, it doesn't carry all that large. I mean, it's kind of a brick, and this is really heavy. This is fully loaded right now. But, you know, for everything that you just saw me put in here, that's not too bad. So really swallows up gear nicely just due to the shape of it. And again, let's check out the A7C2 here with the 20mm f1.8 lens on there, and yeah, that fits in there quite well. And I actually still have stuff in the front pocket. I've got, you know, batteries and earbuds and things like that, and it still fits in there with that. So obviously you get a little bit more leeway in here in terms of this bag, which is nice. And I've had to change out all these cameras one after another to film this section. But if you want to see something insane, here is the A7S III. So this is a much larger camera, and that also fits in there without an issue. Well, I mean, a little bit of an issue, but it does fit in there, which is really crazy. So yeah, this 3.5 liter size really becomes a really stealthy little camera bag if you're looking for a kind of street photography bag, even for a larger camera like this. Let's talk about gaming real quick. Again, here's a Switch 2. Let's see if we can fit it in here in the front. Oh yeah, no problem at all. So if you have a Switch 2, the 3.5 liter fits great. Plenty of space back here even. So if you wanted to throw something like that battery in there, you could. I also have a smaller battery if I wanted to fit like a pouch behind here, as well as like this is another battery from iNew, but this is a 10,000 milliamp hour. But look how cute this thing is. Oh my gosh, you guys. And it's got actually a built-in cable right here on like looks like a little lanyard strap, a little key ring. So if you wanted to put something smaller, that actually might fit great up here. If I didn't have these items, I can actually fit a 10,000 milliamp hour battery in the front pocket of this. That's how small that is. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, Switch 2, no problem there. Let's step up a little bit. This is the ROG Ally, again, in a Skull & Co. grip case. So a little bit bigger, but still no problems. You can definitely fit that, and you can still, again, squeeze in other stuff in the back here. And then lastly, this is a Steam Deck. So the biggest of the bunch, and let's see if that will fit in here. The answer is yes. The answer is yes, that will fit, but it is pretty tight, and it is kind of just barely. It's not giving it a whole lot of protection, if I'm being honest. But a Steam Deck does fit in there, again, because of the way these are laid out with the extra, the grips on these sides. You can always fit more in behind the way that I've got that loaded up. Again, a water bottle, just to see what that looks like inside there. You got a little bit more space, so you could definitely fit larger water bottles than this smaller 12 ounce. If you want to fit bulkier things, I still got that battery bank up front, which is pushing on it a little bit. But yeah, that fits in there well, and you can still fit other things behind. The back here, again, I threw the battery and the hanky in there. Let's see if that's tall enough to fit the Kindle Paperwhite. I don't think so. Uh-oh. You guys, that barely zipped closed. That is really tight. But it would fit a non-Paperwhite, the slightly smaller version of the Kindle. It would fit. I have an older one here that is a little smaller, so that's going to fit a lot more comfortable in there. So, all right. So I hope this video was helpful for you to see the 1.5, 2.5, and 3.5 liter all side by side, to see exactly what fits in each, and more importantly, what doesn't, so you know exactly which to fit and kind of find that Goldilocks for you. I find the 2.5 liter, it's a bummer that you can only buy it in the US, at least at B&H and Best Buy. It's not on Amazon, and so that's a little more challenging to get it if you're someone who shops on Amazon. I'm not sure about other countries, but check the links in the description. Those are automatically go out to kind of your local region around the world for the best price down below. It'll link out to a bunch of different options of where you can buy these bags. It does help support the channel if you can. I'm also linking all the other EDC items that you've seen me kind of cover today if you're interested in any of that. I personally love the 3.5 liter. I like the capacity that it gets me. It's kind of my large crossbody sling bag when I want to carry a little bit extra, when I want to carry my A7C II, a larger camera, maybe with the iPad mini. It just fits, it just swallows everything up in there, and it's really been great for me. I think the 2.5 liter is a little bit smaller, obviously, and it's just a little bit sleeker. So if you have smaller items, when I don't want to carry my larger camera, I want to carry one of the smaller items with the fixed lens options that I showed there with the X100 or GR3, that bag feels a little bit better. The 1.5 liter, I showed earlier in the video kind of how these fit on my frame. I'm 6'4", I'm pretty large, so the 1.5 liter just feels a little bit too small for me, but obviously for a lot of people, it might just be the perfect size. So again, I hope this video was helpful for you to see everything laid out exactly as we did it. Please consider subscribing if you're interested to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.